Hello, everyone. Boy, this is going to be really special. You know, E3, I think, it's a show about celebrating games, but it's also about talking about the impact games have on the world and people from all walks of life talking about what games mean to them. And today, it's my honor to introduce one of our industry's most renowned designers with an individual who is charting the future of the world in so many incredible ways, who also happens to be a big gamer. So without further ado, please welcome Todd Howard and Elon Musk. See ya. Let's go. Welcome to E3.
Thank you.
Great to have you guys here.
Guys.
So I think when we announced this, the biggest question everyone had was, do these guys know each other? Why are they together? You guys are friends, right?
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah.
How did you get to know each other?
People tried to connect us over several years. Like, do you know Elon? You should know Elon. And we finally connected. I think it was when I bought my Tesla.
Yeah.
And somebody, I went into the store and actually, you don't buy Tesla. You order them online when you go there. And you know, on your PC, when you select Ultra for all the settings, I clicked that button when ordering a Tesla, and then we connected.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've actually been a big fan of your games for a long time, and I played Fallout 3 all the way. Like, I really played that game a lot. I think I explored every corner of that game. Played obviously Skyrim. I did not complete Skyrim. That was intense. I was like, this is a big game. Played Fallout 4. That was great. So, and then when I was having like a birthday, I asked for hey, could I have that statue of that weird-looking guy in Fallout? With the 1950s guy with the. You know that guy.
Anyway. That one?
So yeah, there's a life-size statue of this 1950s dude in like I guess a Volt jumpsuit.
It's the Vault Boy.
Vault Boy, yeah. Exactly, Vault Boy.
And you have this at home?
It was so weird having that at a party because most basically there were like two nerds that knew what they referred to, and we were like, okay. And everyone else was like, man, that's weird.
Now, rolling back in time, when you were a kid, you programmed a game. Is that true? Like in the early 80s?
Yeah. I mean, primitive. I was just a kid, yeah.
You're like 12, I think, right?
Yeah. I remember. I think I was probably like 10 or 11 when I programmed that game, but it got published when I was 12.
Blaster, it's called?
Yeah, it's a simple game. It was like you sort of fight. You have a space fighter, and you fight an alien space freighter. Yeah. I wrote the game, did the graphics and the sound and everything. Just didn't have anything else. So it was a very simple game, I want to emphasize.
When you were younger, did you ever aspire to like make games or get into making games?
Yeah, that was actually one of the things that I thought about doing career-wise, sure. Yeah.
Wow.
It seemed like that would be super fun. Yeah.
That's right, because and then you went like rocket science or a few places where you kept doing a little bit of gaming stuff, right?
Yeah, actually, I worked at a gaming startup, which weirdly was called Rocket Science.
Yeah.
Fate loves irony.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked at Rocket Science programming games. It was a long time ago, and that must have been like '93 or something, maybe '94. Yeah, and it was. That was tricky.
Never applied to Bethesda, though?
I didn't. Well, I was.
He was doing other things then.
Exactly.
Well, I was going to. My original plan was to go to grad school at Stanford and do just study ultracapacitors for use in electric vehicles. So, I always wanted to do electric cars and work on like sustainable energy, and then I thought rockets would be cool. I mean, I can sort of talk a little bit about basically it's like what are the things I think that are like quite important for the future to be good, and obviously in order for the future to be good, we have to have sustainable energy. So we have to have sustainable production and consumption of energy. So that means making solar panels low cost and making electric cars appealing. And then we want to become a multi-planet species and a spacefaring civilization. So there's rockets. And then there are some things that I thought, well, it'll affect the future, but I'm not sure if it's good or bad, like AI. That worries me, that one.
Sure.
In fact, I think...
I just made video games. It's not bad.
Yeah,
but
I was going to do all that, but I actually don't know how to do that. So
But I think it turned out in
it's
Fallout
working
3, the AI basically caused World War III, as I recall, or something like that.
a little bit.
I don't want to spoil it, but...
But, I mean, is there a link there between sort of, you talk about AI and video game eye and, the technology in video games. Is there anything there that sort of, helps push technology that you think? I mean, you look at like, self-driving cars or other things. Like, are there things from video games that, you think help push technology forward?
Well, I think, part of the reason I got interested in technology, maybe the reason was video games. So, I probably wouldn't have started programming if it wasn't for video games, or wouldn't have been as interested in computers and technology if it wasn't for video games. So I think actually video games are a very powerful force for getting young kids interested in technology. It has way bigger knock-on effects than people may realize. And generally, like if we're interviewing somebody for a software engineering role at Tesla or SpaceX, many times they'll be like, how'd you start programming? It's like, oh, got into video games. Over and over again. And I think many of the best software engineers in the world are at or spent much of their career at video games houses. And especially if people had to try to create incredibly realistic graphics using very little compute power, that's a hard problem. And so a lot of people had to write really tight code and come up with really clever ideas to do that. If you look at someone like, say, John Carmack, who's an amazing software engineer, but is also actually a really good aerospace engineer. Mm-hmm. And it shows, like, problem solving, I think, does transfer. Like, you figure out software engineering problem solving and transfers to other things.
Carmack told me the best anecdote between video games and rockets. He said rocket AI is actually, for him, quite easy. Just thrust left, thrust right. Gaming AI is so much harder. The difference is when the game crashes, he presses reboot. And when the rocket crashes, it's a giant mess spread over several miles. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some joke about, like, if reality was a video game, it's sort of like the graphics are great. The plot's terrible. Yeah. And the spawn time's really long.
How has the stuff Elon done inspired or affected what you do, Todd, in your world?
Well, I mean, the space stuff, as we look at Starfield, that's where we kind of look, okay, how are these things actually going to work in the future? Got to go to SpaceX last year. That place is like the Avengers meets NASA. Like, if anyone ever gets it, it's incredible. But what do those things look like as we do a science fiction game? Yeah. But the other stuff in the cars and the self-driving is something I'm very passionate about, but that doesn't affect the game stuff. And I know that now you're putting games on the Teslas, so that's different.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, thanks for helping out on that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we are. We talked about that, and we said, hey, would it be pretty cool? So we're actually working together. Skyrim on it. That's a little. We're going to start a little smaller. So we are working on Fallout Shelter for the cars. Yeah. Okay. So it'll be free, and you'll have your little dwellers on the screen, like they live in the car in some way. So it's a great starting point.
Yeah. So how is this going to work with games? You've talked about Unity, Unreal, you're porting it all. Being able to put Tesla. So you have to be in parked when you play these, or how does this work?
Yeah. You have to park the car.
Okay.
The fun police make us park the car.
Okay.
So yes, yeah. like we're also going to enable people to watch like videos, like streaming, like through the browser you'll be able to watch Netflix or whatever, YouTube if the car is parked and connected to Wi-Fi. So if you're like say at a supercharger station and you want to watch something, you can watch it on the screen in the car. But the general principle is like, how do we, what can we do to make the car the most fun possible? And like, what would a car, what other cars just don't have, And so it seems like, well, if there's like you're just parked somewhere waiting for somebody, finish an appointment, or you're on a road trip, it'd be pretty cool if you just like, go to the car screen and play some fun game. And we're just exploring like, how do we make it as fun as possible? You can already play all of the, old Atari games, or almost all the old Atari games on the car. And we hooked it up so you can connect to Xbox or PS4 controller and like actually have some a pretty good control feedback. And then we have like genius moves like the fart app. It's my finest work.
Okay.
It's like there's you can actually make, by the way, you can make the fart sound like it's coming from any seat.
That actually is the funniest Easter egg, that one. Yeah, you can position it. And then actually the names of the farts. There's the Falcon Heavy is one of them. Yeah. I believe. Yeah.
So, exactly.
And I know you got, we've got some clips, right, of what this is going to look like?
We can show some clips of some upcoming games in the car, and it's just meant to be like, hey, what are some cool games that people might like to play, and depending upon how much people play them, we'll, add them to the like higher on the list, or maybe put it into sort of an archive that you can tap to download. Because this screen was not originally meant as a game player, so it doesn't actually have that much storage.
Right.
So it won't have that many games on it at any one time, but it will just be like, okay, what do people really enjoy playing, and that might be a good way to pass time. So.
Awesome. All right, let's take a look at games on Tesla.
Welcome in, he is Cowboy Man.
All right, there's Cuphead. And that's not all. We got a second one too, right?
We've got a racing game that you can either play single player or two player.
All right, game 2. Let's check it out. The steering wheel, I wasn't prepared for that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a racing game and you have a steering wheel, it's like sitting right there, waiting to be steered.
Can you gas and brake? Will that work too, or it's
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I think we've got the brake is wired in, and I think we'll probably have maybe the scroll wheel for the gas pedal, just so like somebody doesn't accidentally
launch yourself.
Stepping on the brake if you're stationary is not a problem.
Right. Gas could be. That's amazing. Well, it's so cool that you're doing that inside of the cars. I wanted to ask you guys about the idea. You're both certainly known for a ton of incredible successes in your careers, and you said before, Elon, that sometimes you're really only innovating if you're kind of ready to fail or have failure along the way. It shows that you are pushing for innovation. Todd, you've been through kind of quite a year with sort of Fallout 76, and you've been pretty public about some of the challenges there. Could you guys maybe riff a little bit on that about sort of the push for innovation and how sometimes failure is part of that journey?
Well, usually when you get to take gaming, the things that it's the first time you see it and they're new, they become successful. But you got there by trying big new things, and we're going to keep doing that, and other game makers do that. And I think it's good that the audiences are welcoming to that. They're gonna try it out and support us as we go through that process to figure out, hey, what's going to make this tick? And we had obviously had our ups and downs with Fallout 76, but our fans are incredible and have really stuck with us. And now it's really turned into one of the best online communities that we've ever seen. It's fantastic.
Through your career, I'm sure you've seen that too, right? Where there have been projects that take time to evolve, but that's part of what it takes, I guess, right? Is kind of having that vision and pushing for it.
Sure. If you're going to try something innovative, then you're in unexplored territories, so the odds that something will go wrong are pretty high. It's only if you try to do something that is already well understood that there's little chance of failure, but then it will not be interesting or innovative. For sure, uncharted territory will result in failures necessarily. Otherwise, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah. Speaking of uncharted territory, you mentioned Starfield, which we haven't seen much on, Todd, besides one little trailer last year. But obviously, space is going to be a part of that. I'm curious. I don't know how much you can tell us about the game, but I should ask. What can you tell us about Starfield?
I do not have a clip. No, sorry. Everyone needs to be patient on that. But what I can say is how we approach it, so it feels. It's a game, but it still has an authenticity to. Okay, this could happen. Yep. We talked what kind of fuel do the ships use? We're using helium-3, which we can debate whether that's a good power source for spaceships, or how do the physics work in space and gravity and those kind of things. And that's where you get into, we have to gamify it some, so that it's not as punishing as actual space travel, but that it feels like, hey, traveling in space in our game is still, let's say it's like flight in the 40, it's dangerous. It's still dangerous to go and explore, but even though lots of people do it.
Yeah, space is far. That's the thing. It's you have to definitely cut that short. It's 40 light years, man. This is far. Even at light speed, that's pretty far. So, I think if you want to a normal, based on known physics, an antimatter drive would be the best. But that's still going to limit you to light speed, which is a long time. I have to have some kind of warp drive, otherwise you're going to be stuck in one star system. Just honestly, sometimes I feel like we're in some friggin' video game, I'm like, why is it just possible to get to Mars? Why are the stars so far away? This is just what I'd do if I was doing a video game. I'll put those stars, the little points of light. Don't worry about it. You can't see details. They're real far.
Levels of detail. The stuff that Elon is doing with SpaceX, are you looking at that when you're building Starfield? I don't know how far in the future it's set or sort of how that's looked, but
it's further in the future. But I like that, going back to that risking failure and stuff. I think, honestly, the world needs more people like Elon who say, I'm not sure how that works. I'm going to try this a different way. And a lot of people will doubt that, whether it's going to space in that way or self-driving cars. But I'm very passionate about those things. And as it comes to what's happening at SpaceX, it's, what are the limits of the physics of the new engines or things like that, where, talking to Elon, how far could this go in current reality, and then how would we move beyond that in a fictional way?
Yeah, you talk a bit about that. Obviously, you're dealing with the reality of today, but something futuristic like what Todd's doing. Does that get you excited to sort of think about like, where's space travel going to go, and how can something like Todd's world simulate that or explore that even further off?
Yeah, I think like sci-fi movies, video games, or video, and really I think people spend a lot more time on video games and movies these days. Can be pretty inspiring and thought-provoking about what's the future that we want. What are some like impossible-sounding technologies that maybe could work somehow? Like there's conceivably a way to do warp drive, but it's such esoteric, super out on the edge physics, because technically you cannot go faster than the speed of light, but space can travel faster than the speed of light. That's what's meant by warp drive. But the amount of energy you need to warp space is unbelievably gigantic. So, you'd have to like be converting matter to energy at a rate that is cannot conceive really. It can't be like something like, well, if we just convert 1 Jupiter per second to energy, then problem solved. Like that's a lot, and there's not many Jupiters. So, and there might be a bit of radiation around that. So, like there are things like technically the universe did expand faster than the speed of light. That's why we can see light from all these super distant stars. So it's kind of pretty wild that space expanded faster than the speed of light. So I'm sure we'll like figure out some strange breakthroughs and come to grips better with like this dark matter especially, which seems like something's fishy going on there. And
it has bad branding.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. The universe is mostly dark energy and dark matter according to current physics, but this kind of you plug them in the equations and they sort of work, and like, this is not a good explanation. Nobody can find the dark matter. But I sort of figure, like, hey, if this was a video game and somebody had a bug in their like orbital dynamics physics simulator, then it's like, oh no, we got to figure out some way for these minions in here to believe that they're in reality. So insert dark matter.
But the idea of a game as a simulation, sort of predicting things or whatever. I mean, obviously it's entertainment on some level, but there are games where it's like it is more of a simulation. Or maybe not, but
sure.
Is there value there in that, and sort of in kind of testing things and exploring ideas inside of a game world?
Yeah, actually at Tesla we have a whole sim team that tries to create a photorealistic world, and we're trying to be photorealistic about like actually the most boring things, like skid marks on the road and like concrete curves, shadows, faded lines on this. Like the reason self-driving is hard is because you have all these corner cases and things where the road should be a certain way, but it isn't. Like there should be painted lines, but there aren't painted lines, and they took the painted lines away, and then there's a skid mark that's offset from the painted line, so that will cause the car, if it just listens to the lines, to crash into stuff. If you had clearly painted lines and could count on them, self-driving would be trivial, like just a piece of cake. But the world is just filled with all these things that are not the way they're supposed to be. And then the real trick with the self-driving AI is to figure out where should I be on this road that has no painted lines, or the lines have been painted wrong, and it's got skid marks and scratches and road work and all sorts of things that are unexpected. That's the really hard part. Otherwise, it'd be child's play. So yeah, we do a lot of sim at Tesla, and we have found a good correlation. It's like, does the car drive off the cliff in sim? Yes. Does it drive off the cliff in reality? Well, we got close.
I think you said it once. It's not the lines. It's looking for drivable space is more important than the markings in real life, because that's how your mind's actually working.
Yeah.
Even if there's a lane, you can't. There's someone there. Like, it's more drivable space that's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So, actually, we recently found that we need we have like pretty good recognition of lines and what's technically drivable space, but we actually need what is road, and as opposed to what is the most probably the road as opposed to drivable space, and what is and then a whole subset on curbs. We're really into curbs right now. Some curbs are really subtle. And some of you should care about, some you shouldn't care about. You know, sometimes you go into a driveway and it's got a little curb, and then the car's like, oh, curb, can't go over that. You know, or it's like operating on drive space, going through like a neighborhood, and then everyone's driveway is drive space. Technically true, but you don't want to go through everyone's driveway. It's not good.
But I was going to say, you think about like that. A lot of that stuff started video game wise, like image processing and things like that, and AI. Yeah. And what they're doing there is, people look at technology now. They always underestimate how fast technology moves. In the present day, they don't cast back. You look at things. But I think the self-driving and what's happening now is going to fundamentally change the world in ways that people can't even expect. And you think about our children might not even learn to drive because the cars will all be driving themselves around, or how it affects cityscapes or parking lots, alcohol consumption. There's just like all these studies that are fascinating. Yeah, exactly. Like, so if you look at like what are the best self-driving stocks? Alcohol companies. Because
and more games to play too on the
gaming companies. Yeah.
Exactly. There you go.
Well, I mean, it's like video games have drove computing technology, especially GPUs, massively. It's like that's really the only thing you need a GPU for was to have the game look better, and so those massive resources put into rendering games to be more realistic, and then those same GPUs ended up being very useful for neural nets, and gave a huge boost to AI. So it's sort of video games to better graphics to AI, and then that same thing is sort of quite key to self-driving.
Yeah, I know you have OpenAI, and I wanted to ask Todd a bit about AI and game AI and sort of where games are going, right? So, you obviously have RPGs that are simulated worlds, and people have done things with, emergent behavior and other characters, radiant AI, things like that. But can you talk about maybe sort of where games are going in the next 5, 10 plus years in terms of the AI and the simulation and what's going to sort of happen there?
I think that's the part of gaming that's going to make the biggest jump. I think the graphic fidelity, most people react to instantly. They're looking at a screenshot or a video. Yeah. But there's some laws of diminishing returns there as things start to look better and better and better and better. But as far as how a game feels, the other characters in the AI, I think a lot of people, including us, have struggled with how do you make that feel real. And now that you can move some of that processing to the cloud, neural nets, other things, I think that's the part where it's going to get significantly better over the next generation.
You think that means what characters know you better, or what do you have any sense of how that
reacting to
itself?
Things that you did in a more realistic manner? They're more reactive to what you're doing or the situation around them. The curb problem is this that you get that in a video game all the time.
Wow. We get to a point where these games become more sort of indistinguishable from reality, and I'm curious about what do you think where do you think this goes ultimately as these games continue to improve, graphics get better, but then the simulation gets better? Do we reach this sort of, singularity, this point where sort of, the game and the world is the same thing, the simulation is
Imagine if we were to reach such a situation. That would be crazy.
What are we playing now?
I bet we see those these creatures in the game saying, "Wow, imagine if can you imagine if there was a simulation? You're in a simulation, guys." It's simulations all the way down. It's a simulation and a simulation and a simulation. Seems likely. If you assume any rate of improvement of video games at all, then one or two things are going to happen. Civilization will end, or games will be so realistic you can't tell the difference between them and reality. I postulate. Is does this sound correct, or does it sound correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it's a good thing, but it's just FYI. We could be somebody's like video game right now.
Right. It's true.
Whose avatar are you?
When you think of kind of, never know, but, when you look at games and the games you play now, I mean, what are the things you want to see in games that don't happen right now? Is there anything that, like, when you play a game, you're like, I wish it did this, or I wish you're obviously thinking about, lots of things, but when you play games, are you satisfied, or are there things that frustrate you about games? What do you want to see games do in the future?
I don't know if I should say.
Yeah. You working on a game too?
No.
Okay.
No. But I mean, like, I don't know. No, I mean, like, a bit more R-rated. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm trying to be honest here. Popular theme.
Todd?
I don't know that I can follow that up. That's
But, I mean, when you look at, the stuff that you play now, I guess you talked about Todd's games, but I'm curious kind of, wider spectrum, your kids play games, you play games. Like, what are you, what excites you? Like, what games are you looking forward to? What have you played recently? Like, what there are a lot of games out there. What does it take for a game to attract your interest?
Sure. I mean, last couple of years, actually, I haven't played a lot of games because it's been super intense work situation.
Yep,
so it's basically just work, see the kids for a bit, and then get like not enough sleep. So that's been the situation for a couple of years. So just haven't had much time to play games a lot. Probably the last game that I played a lot was probably Fallout 4.
Okay.
So that was a good one.
And then he was like, I'm done. That's good.
Exactly. It's like, we're good. That's right.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about this game, Cyberpunk. I like the theme. It's
looks
like
awesome.
Yeah.
And we're actually weirdly was what we decided to have our pickup truck as like kind of like a cyberpunk themed pickup truck that
Really?
we'll be unveiling hopefully end of the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Inspired?
It looks weird.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't look normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And inspired directly by the theme of Cyberpunk in the game a little bit?
It was not inspired. I learned about the game afterwards.
Okay.
This is something we've been working on for a while.
Yeah.
But I just sort of I like the general idea, so it's sort of sort of has a slight Blade Runner feel to it.
Wow.
So it definitely does. It doesn't look like a normal car. It looks like it should not be on the roads, and it came out of a movie or something. But won't appeal to everyone, but it'll be something that's different, and it'll be probably appeal to. I think I would buy it. So yeah, and I think like if you're like trying to work on something, and like my experience is like it's really hard to if you're trying to figure out what others love but you don't love it, it's really hard to make that great. So when you work on something, if you fall in love with it, that's a good sign. And then don't worry about if others do. If you do, others will.
I imagine the same.
Absolutely true.
How you probably feel about making games too, Todd? That idea that you have to love and play it?
Absolutely, and it's not just me, it's the whole team at Bethesda Game Studios these are the kind of things we would line up at midnight to go play and buy. Yeah. And that's what, drives your passion to do it. And you have to be your own kind of tastemaker day in and day out if you're always focus testing. Does someone like this? You often miss the mark.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about is online play, and you've got these, a lot in the news recently, Elon, about the Starlink satellites and the idea of, internet around the world, low latency, and gaming could be, I think, one of the sort of beneficiaries of this. Can you maybe talk a bit about that project and how it will tie into potentially gaming?
Sure. We actually, one of the design criteria for Starlink is to have latency for the initial constellation on the order of 20 milliseconds or below, which is important for real-time gaming. And then the later sort of second generation, third generation constellations are aiming for sub 10 milliseconds. So this would be really great for any kind of real-time gaming. Yeah.
And it is across the world, you'll be able to sort of access that.
Yeah, anywhere on Earth.
Wow. Pretty amazing. That's, what's exciting. We look at, these cloud platforms, streaming, something like that. I mean, Todd, from a designer perspective, that must open up so many possibilities, I think, about, where games are going to go in the future, right?
Yeah, I think it's about democratizing who can play. Right now, there's still a lot of barriers to, I want to play that game. Okay, I got to buy that. I have this. I have to be somewhere. So having that be that you can approach it like any other entertainment. Like, okay, I listen to music. It's quite, you don't think about it. There's so many ways to do it. Yeah. And that's where, games need to be, where it's ubiquitous. It's not just in our part of the world where people are connected well. It's other parts of the world that are growing, and these billions of gamers who are coming into the scene who don't have the access that we take for granted.
Yeah, sure. All right, we'll do maybe a couple audience Q&A, a little AMA here. If you'll raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you, and we can have a couple questions for these guys. This is a rare opportunity.
Hello, how you doing?
Good.
We're streaming on Twitch right now, by the way. Shout out to Twitch.
Hello.
I had a question about the possibility of living in a simulation. When you think about like all the quirks, every individual personality, how things work on a cellular level, like the universe, everything, doesn't it start to seem more far-fetched when you see how intricate and individual things are?
Okay. We
42.
talked a bit about that, the idea that Thank you. All right, appreciate it. Next question, let's maybe go over here. Yep.
Hi. Big fan. That's loud. Charles, where are your tusks? Yeah.
Yeah, we're on Tusk, you saying? Yeah, this is Elon Tusk?
Elon Tusk?
Yeah. I've heard that before. Upcoming episode of Rick and Morty.
Hey,
Justin Roiland's up next.
Hey, Elon. Thanks for coming. Thanks, guys. Elon, so if we want to get to Mars, it's going to take a long time to get astronauts out there. What kind of entertainment plan do you have? I mean, hopefully they're going to be able to play games on their way to Mars. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Awesome.
Like, LAN party in space.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
The woman right there behind you. Yep.
Mine is simple. Elon Musk, how much do I have to beg to get a selfie with you?
Sure, I'll do a selfie. Sure.
All right.
I'll do it.
Next question. Let's go maybe as far back there. Yeah. The red shirt. There's some upstairs too.
It's for Elon. How do I sign up to test out your neural net program?
Well, you just put this USB-C port in your head, and and then don't worry.
I'm in.
It'll be fine. Might sting a little.
All right. Another one. Sure, right over there. Yeah, sure.
A question for Todd Howard. I live in the West End of Rockville, Maryland. Are you looking for any interns by chance?
Go to our website. There's a lot of job postings there.
All right, maybe just a couple more. Yeah, sure, right over there. You got a mic? Yeah.
Hey, Elon. Wow, this is crazy. Yeah, so right now I'm trying to build like a tokenized game economy for gamers. So my question is, for 2 karma points and on behalf of our simulation overlords, can you sign my cyberpunk hat?
Sure.
We'll get it up here for him. All right.
2.5 karma points.
That's exactly good. All right. Another one right here. Mike down here. You got the glasses?
Karma does seem real.
Elon, I'm just wondering, with all the noise you deal with, there's lots of craziness. How do you stay focused? Because I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's insane.
His premise was you do stay focused.
Yeah, pretty focused.
It's so many things.
Man, I feel like the level keeps ratchet. Can we just turn that difficulty level down one notch? That would be really helpful. It keeps dialing up the difficulty.
Medium.
That's like off nightmare level.
Over here? Yeah.
So this is a question for both of you. Actually, you mentioned failures before. What's the actual biggest failure that you've gone through to get to where you are?
Question. Who goes first?
That's a tricky question. It's funny, it's an interview question I ask people.
Right.
And I don't...
You don't know your response.
People who are in the military have the best failures, meaning like they crash satellites and tanks and things like that. I do not have a good answer for that.
I mean, we blew up 3 rockets in the beginning. So that was bad.
Okay.
We actually only had enough money. Originally, I basically took all the money I made from PayPal, put it into SpaceX, to creating SpaceX, Tesla, and Solar City, and initially figured I'd keep half of it, and then I'd spend the other half on these crazy adventures that would probably fail. And then, unfortunately, they needed all the money, so so I had to give them all the money, and then I didn't have a house or I had to borrow money for rent. That was pretty difficult. That was back in 2008. And then we managed to scrape enough spare parts together to do a 4th launch at SpaceX, and that worked. And if it had not worked, SpaceX would have died. Probably would have lacked the credibility to raise the remaining money for Tesla, and we wouldn't be here today. Or maybe we'd be like, not this ending.
For me, it would be... I guess for me, it'd have to be similar to the games we made in the period after Daggerfall. We made a bunch of games that they didn't land, and the company was going to go out of business. And we got a lifeline, and then like, hey, let's do this game Morrowind. This is what we should do, and that saved the company.
All right, one more question. Last question. You want to pick? Todd? Let's see. Up top? Oh, there's everyone up there.
Can't see through the lights.
I know, they're way up there. All right, yeah, maybe the hand way up there, yeah. Yeah, yell out your question.
Hi.
Hi.
Actually, we launch all the time. We do kind of 20 to 30 launches a year. Most of them are from Cape Canaveral. Some are from Vandenberg here in California. And in order for people to really see the launch, like that super crazy visible, kind of looked like a nuclear alien invasion from North Korea. Some of the YouTube videos are pretty funny. Yeah, 911 lines went ballistic. They broke down the 911 system. So we weren't actually. For us, we knew it was happening, so it was like, oh, it's a rocket launch. But the next thing is probably the Falcon Heavy launch at the end of this month. That's out of Cape Canaveral. So that's got the 2 side boosters that come back and land. This will be the most. We're pushing the envelope a little bit with Falcon Heavy, so it's more side load from the boosters and higher dynamic pressure, meaning like the ascent air pressure will be higher. It's just like pushing harder through the air. So that'll be an exciting launch to see if you're at the Cape. And then hopefully later this year we should be doing test flights of Starship out of South Texas and the Cape. Wow. This is a crazy looking vehicle.
Wow.
So
amazing. All right. Well, I think we're unfortunately out of time, although this will keep going on. Elon, thank you so much for coming to E3, being a part of this. This is so cool to have you here. Todd Howard, thanks for doing this. Once in a lifetime, Todd and Elon. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.